Hey, everybody. Hey, y'all. When you come in, just say who you are and where you are watching from. And share this video and get everybody in here. If you're in the coven, share the video and tell people to come on in here. Hey. Say hey so I know who's here and where you're watching from. Y'all, it's so hot in my apartment, which is not normal. Been hot the past couple days. I don't have a fever though. Don't worry, I'm not sick. Hey everybody. Say hey and where you are watching from. Hey Sandra in Seattle. And Deanna from Philly. Them is my babies. I love y'all so much. I'm so glad that y'all have joined us in the coven. Hey everybody. Hi Paige. If everybody just joined, say hi so I know who's here and where you are watching from. I meant to make my post like 30 minutes ago, but I was still getting ready. So I'm making all my posts now. So that's on me, y'all. I was doing a lot today. And I was in one of the study sessions doing a lot. And I underestimated how long it would take me to actually get ready. Like I said, it's hot in my apartment for some reason. Hotter than normal. I'm usually like freezing. So who else is here? We got Deanna, Paige, and Sonder. Who else is here? Say hey so I know who you are, so I can acknowledge you. I like to acknowledge people. I don't want to just be, I want y'all to know that I see you. I see you. I don't have any gifts to share this time, y'all, but I did get some books, and I don't think I brought the book down here, but I did get some new books, so I'm super excited about my new books. I got more stuff coming. I'm getting like a package every day for the next 3 days, all like spiritual stuff, whether it's like a book or we have an Oshun scrying mirror class on Tuesday. So all my stuff is coming for that. I'm super excited to be teaching that with Priestess Omoshule. Okay, so Monte Ferdasi is here from Texas. Nicole from Cali, that's my other baby. Chad from somewhere in the universe, and I thank you, Chad, for that. I love you. Hi, Raven from Texas. Hi, everybody. I love to see familiar faces. That makes me so happy. Love, 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 y'all. Oh, I don't think it's on here. Let me fix that. Shoot. I was tripping. There we go. If you'd like to send a love donation, it is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. I've been doing a lot of free classes lately. I haven't done a paid class in a while. So I'm working on converting everything over so that you guys can get the paid classes, including my chakra series. It's almost done. Hey, Cash from the West Coast. Yes, I'm glad you're here too, babe. We're going to give it like 2 more seconds for everybody to get in here. Literally 2. So I'm going to try and make this quick, and I'm going to try not to yell. Hey, Chris. Thank you for coming in. Chris is from the Facebook group. Which Facebook group are you in, Chris? Oh, hey, Moana. Hey, boo. Moana, is this the first time you've been in one of mine? I see you all the time in the other groups, in the chattings. Let me put my real phone down because that's about to start going off soon. And make sure my watch is unlocked because I'm going to start getting texts because people act like they don't know that I go live every Saturday at 4:30. Like this hasn't been a thing for a year, but that's fine. So anyway, hi, everybody. I am Omowawari Ogbonyomi, and I am a goddaughter of Priestess Oshun Funke Iyanifa. I'm also a staff member at Black Spectrum Network and the Voodoo Institute. And I'm the owner of Enchanted Vibes, obviously, and co-founder of Vibe and High. And we're going to have some new products coming out here pretty soon. So you're going to see me advertising those. We're going to have candles. We already have oils up. Click the link in the description. You'll see the oils are already up. There's more oils. They're just not on the website. So we got to fix that. And then we're going to start doing candles here pretty soon. So I'm excited about that. And some other stuff we're going to have available for purchase. And then soon we will have an actual storefront in Columbus, Ohio. So super duper excited about that. And I have some big news to share with you guys. Okay, Chris, you from the Melanated group. All right. So you see me in there a lot talking shit. Anyway, so super excited today. Guess what I did, you guys? I did something the most amazing. I paid for my hand to be filed in full. So I am officially getting my hand to be filed in July. So that has nothing to do with this class. It does, but it doesn't. I just wanted to put it out there because I'm so excited that I got it paid for. So I'm like super duper excited. I've been cheesing all day. I was in a work session with Hugan when I paid for it, and I was going like this and dancing. So I'm super excited. Super duper excited. So we're just going to get into it. If you saw my post from earlier today, and y'all, my hair is still wet, so ignore me touching it because it's going to get on my nerves until it shrinks up. So if you saw my post earlier today, it said that your beliefs don't make you a better person, your behavior does. And so this is basically what we're going to be talking about today, because for some reason, people think that just because they believe in God, that they have a higher moral standing than others, or because they go to church on Sundays, that they have a higher, they're of a higher caliber of human than other people. That is not true. That is a lie, straight from the devil that y'all claim to hate so much. And I think it's kind of weird that you think otherwise, but whatever. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So first, we're going to kind of talk about what is accountability. So accountability is when you take responsibility for your actions, right? You do something, it incurs, I don't want to say consequences. consequences aren't always a bad thing, but it incurs effects. Okay. So there's either going to be good things that happen or bad things that happen. And every single little choice has its own effect, whether it be good or bad. And sometimes good choices have negative effects because they can put you in situations where negativity will be, even though it was a positive decision. So you being on time to work and doing everything you're supposed to do, you're on the right path, right? You're doing what you're supposed to do. You're on time to work. But somebody else's fuckery and foolishness incurs and you get into a car accident, right? So it's not that you did anything bad. You were doing what you were supposed to do, but somebody else's choices caused you some distress, right? So people seem to think that for some reason being a good person and doing all these things and you did the right thing all the time means that bad things will never happen. That's not the case. That's why I just used that example. But for some reason, people think that they can just avoid consequences altogether. And that's not, we already know that that's not the case. Especially in Christianity, for some reason, people think that all I have to do is say that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, and that I acknowledge that he died for my sins, and I'm good. And he is the only way to heaven. Only through him is the way to heaven, all that stuff. You say all that stuff. You believe all that stuff. And that's enough to get you, it's like a get out of jail free card. And when it comes to like your afterlife. And that is not actually how things work. And you can't just repent and it gets rid of everything. So especially in like the Catholic Church where they go for confession and they have this, whole spiel when they go and they confess all their sins. And then they walk out of there and do the same things or do other bad things. They may not do the exact same thing again, but they kind of they don't really become a better person for it. They didn't learn anything from it. And they keep just doing the same stuff over and over again. That's not spiritual accountability at all. That is the exact opposite. Somebody said spiritual bypassing. Yes, it's bypassing. You're like bypassing the whole actual spiritual aspect of life just to say, oh, yeah, it's fine. Everything's fine. I said, my prayers or whatever, and that's just going to alleviate all the things. Everybody who converts on their deathbed, that's not actually how that works. You still have to answer for everything that you did, even by Christian standards. But for some reason, particularly in Christianity, that part just doesn't really happen. And so what happens is you have people who go to church on Sunday. They know the Bible front and backwards, right? They're upstanding citizens in the community or whatever, as far as anybody can tell. But then they're having sex with the parishioners. They're stealing money. They're child molesters. They do illegal drugs, like bad stuff. Like I'm talking about like heroin and cocaine. And they're a bad person. Like everybody knows that super mean church lady who just cusses everybody out, is mad because you don't have on the right color pantyhose. If you got to cross your legs at the ankle and not at the knees, or else you're fast, that type of thing. That person usually needs shadow work, because there's something else going on somewhere else that's causing them to act like that. And they have a lack of spiritual accountability in another place. They're doing something somewhere else that's causing that type of behavior. Sometimes in relationships, you'll have somebody who's overly possessive or any negative trait that's like super, super noticeable. That's usually because they're doing something else in the relationship and it's guilt. And so the guilt is making them act crazy, essentially. Or like every time you mention something small, like, I don't really like that. And they're like, well, why don't you just leave? They always trying to leave the relationship. The people who threaten suicide if you try to leave a relationship, that's because they're lacking accountability somewhere else in their life. That's usually not a trauma response. Some people kind of confuse those, like a trauma response and guilt. A trauma response is somebody hurts you and you just cut them off and you never talk to them again and you don't even bother to care why. That's a trauma response. Or you make excuses for them and you try to get them to stay and you beg them to stay. That is a trauma response. But guilt is a little bit different. There is something that they're doing that they know is bad and they don't want to be held accountable for it. Or when you figure out what it is and you try to hold them accountable for it, now either you're the worst person ever or they want to kill themselves. Things like that. I should probably not say that because they're going to unalive themselves. There we go. Unalive themselves. I forgot I'm on YouTube and it's weird. So then there's we'll talk about the law of cause and effect. So there are consequences to your actions, and it's not always you that will experience them. The sins of the father, right? Everybody's heard of that. So sometimes we wonder why people can do bad things and they don't seem to ever have to pay for it. Well, they are going to pay for it. Their bloodline's going to pay for it. And in our particular belief system, we always keep coming back, right, as descendants of our ancestors. So when they come back, because clearly they didn't learn what they were supposed to. So they're going to have to come back again. And by the way, in African spirituality, there is no hell. Hell is really on earth. If you have to keep coming back here, this is the hell. Heaven is heaven, right, with Olarum. But hell is having to keep coming back to this place of weirdness, for lack of a better word. So what happens is the bloodline has to pay for those decisions. So they'll have a kid that's sick. They'll have a grandchild that's sick. They'll have generational curses that build up in the bloodline. So then when they come back, they have to deal with the consequences in their actions just in a different form. People don't really think about that part. So if you're having a struggle now, but in this life you didn't do anything that really warrants that level of pain and heartache, you have to think about it from the perspective of in a past life, maybe you did. You could have been a very messed up person, like Hitler. When Hitler has to come back, when his soul has to come back, he's going to be in poverty. He's going to have some problems. So that's something to think about as far as spiritual accountability. And you don't have to be perfect. Nobody's asking for perfection because no one was perfect. And they like to throw in there that Jesus was perfect. But if you actually read the Bible, he had a temper. He went in there throwing stuff around inside the temple, right? He was actually tempted by Satan. He didn't do anything, but he was tempted. It was the mere thought. And in Christianity, if you think the sin, you are the sin. That is still a sin. So that's, something to think about as well. So back to cause and effect. This is true of both negative and positive decisions. And nothing is actually in the past because the effects continue to ripple throughout existence, not just your existence, but the existence of everything and everyone. So sometimes it'll affect a friend. It'll affect a business relationship. And that karma will still be in the universe, especially if you do it late at the end of your life. So you may not feel the direct consequence of that, but it will still ripple effect into the universe. This is another part of the law of oneness where we are all one. So what you do does affect other people, no matter how much we try to say that, I could do this and it's not bothering you, blah, blah, blah. But when it's something that's negative, when it's something that hurts people, it does affect other people. But that person doesn't want to take accountability for that because they just want to do what they want to do. And they don't want to hear that they need to calm down. That is not the same as to say, if somebody does something bad to you, you shouldn't defend yourself. I'll put it that way. Defending yourself is the best way to put that. You should always defend yourself. You should always be doing protection work so that you don't have those type of situations. But if something comes through, you have the right to retaliate is not the word I want to say, but definitely defend your stance, defend your bloodline, defend your blessings. Because just because you over there doing dumb stuff doesn't mean you get to come over here and do dumb stuff and affect my blessings. So again, protection work is important. And so protecting yourself against somebody, or if somebody takes it too far, which can happen, that's not to say that you can't also, I don't want to say also take it too far, but sometimes defensive measures are necessary. It's not always about protection. Sometimes you have to delve out a little bit of extra energy in that person's direction so they understand that you're not to be messed with. Don't let people think they can mess with you, because then they'll take advantage. And that's also a lack of spiritual accountability, because why would you ever let anybody disrespect you? Like, you can choose to cut people off, right? But when certain situations require action, you can't just let certain stuff slide. Like, you're going to have to do something about that. All is one, Priestess Mel. I said Priestess Mel. Priestess Omoshule. You really have to, and you're disrespecting your ancestors when you let other people disrespect you. You're disrespecting your Ori when you let other people disrespect you. Part of the Ori prayer, if you're in the coven, the very last line is Ori me maba abodi, which basically means don't let me be disrespected by anyone. So, or do not let me accept evil, I think maybe, or it's in there, last couple lines. So don't let people disrespect you. And if that means you have to show them like I'm not like some little pushover, sometimes that's necessary. Don't go hexing everybody just because they displease you. If you saw my post from a couple of weeks ago, where it says, I'm trying not to summon the dark forces every time somebody displeases me, and then 3 displeases later, they're at an altar and they're like summoning dark forces. Don't do that, right? Because then you need to assess why people keep coming for you. If people keep coming for you, are you in alignment and it's producing some shadows and other people are coming out? Or are you doing some things that are not what you should be doing? Are you on the fuck shit? Because if you are, you have to stop. You have to stop that. You can't go around harming people and think that nobody's going to retaliate against you and then play victim when they do. Like, oh my God, I don't know why they did that. It's because you stole money from them. It's because you lied on them. It's because you gossip about them, even if it is the truth. You're telling all their business all the time. It's because you don't understand reciprocity. You're not giving the same amount of energy in that relationship. Kiori mi maba. Oh, kiori mi mase oriki. That is part of the prayer, but that is not the part about disrespect. But yes, that is in there. Very good, Saunders. So yeah, you just have to be very careful, and you have to be accountable. You cannot go through this life thinking that you can just do whatever and there's no consequences. So then back to cause and effect. Time and his agreement that we have made with the universe. But we really just live in like one huge moment, so to speak. Like our whole entire existence is just a moment to the deities and everything else. And when you're on the other side, a little bit of amount of time that you're on this earth as a soul and as a being is minuscule compared to how much time you're on the other side. And so in this small amount of time that you have here, why would you waste it doing dumb stuff? Because it seems like a long time while you're here. Like 70 years is a long time for a human. And so why are you wasting it doing dumb stuff when you could have a much better life just simply putting out the type of energy that you want? If you don't want people to be hateful towards you and you want to have a peaceful life, you have to be a peaceful person. You have to be there's the motto that says you be the change you wish to see in the world. That's like a real thing. No, not everybody's going to do that. Yes, somebody around you is still going to be on some bullshit, but that's where what other people are doing doesn't matter. Just because somebody else is over here doing some bullshit doesn't give you a pass to also do bullshit. You are accountable still for what you do. And no amount of praying and ebo or sacrifice is going to get you out of the fact that you're still a shitty person. Now you can change and be a better person, which is the goal, right? We're always supposed to be getting better. You can change and be a better person, and that can change your circumstances. But you continuing to be this horrible person is not going to do you any good. That's right. Karma has no expiration. Sometimes you'll see people who supposedly live this really good, pious type of life, right? They're a really nice person. They do good things. They help in their community. They donate, and all types of things. And then some really bad stuff happens. And you have no idea why. Well, what you don't know is that 20 years ago, they were a whole trap king, like just out here shooting people, stealing from people, robbing people, destroying their community with drugs, like hard drugs, right? So you didn't know all that. So then now you meet them 20 years later and they're this super nice person. And then something happens and their whole family is murdered. And you can't understand why, not knowing that they used to be a kingpin and they murdered plenty of people, or they gave the order that ended a lot of people's lives, or they sold the drugs that ended a lot of lives and destroyed lives. So again, just because you suddenly become this good person doesn't mean that you can still evade the consequences of your previous actions. Some people, and especially in like African spirituality, it just depends on where you are with it, but some of them don't necessarily go with the concept of karma. More or less, it's the concept of energy. And you still put that energy out in the universe. And what you put out will still come back to you. You just don't know how. And it might not come back in the same way. So it may come back in the form of a car accident, and now you're a paraplegic or you're an amputee. Now, what you didn't cause a car accident. You never caused a car accident your whole life. But your payment comes back in that same form. And payment is something that we don't pay attention to, like with deity as well. Deity require payment. So when you're dealing with any deity, doesn't even matter if it's Oshun, if it's an Aloha, if it's Thor, it doesn't matter. There is always a payment that is required. And so you should not go to deities without knowing what the cost is. Somebody posted in the chat the other day about Saint Expedite. And my exact advice was, whatever you said you were going to do when you wrote this petition and you concocted this work, you need to make sure you do it. Because if you miss one small detail, he will take everything he gave you back quicker than what he gave it to you in. Because you weren't accountable. You lacked accountability and you lacked obedience. You were told to do a certain thing. You didn't do it. Now everything I gave you, plus sometimes is now mine. You're going to lose everything and then some. So you really have to be aware of what it is you're doing. And also the things you fail to do have a consequence. So if you're like, again, if you were told to do something and you didn't do it, that you lacked accountability in that and you lacked obedience. You were specifically told to do something a certain way. This especially happens with Ebo and with your Odu. So when you get your hand of Ifa, you're told, your taboos and things like that. And whenever you go against that, especially because now you know exactly what it is. You know exactly what the issues is. You know exactly what it is you need to work on. So now that you know, you've been told, and you specifically don't do that thing, the consequences are way worse. Way, way worse, because you knew you weren't supposed to do it. That has happened. I'm not going to tell nobody else's story, but I know people that has happened to, where they had something in their ODU. They weren't supposed to do it. Situations came up. People had them fucked up. For real. People had them fucked up, but they were supposed to handle it different. Instead, they handled it in a way that went exactly against their ODU. And they lost a lot because of it. More than a normal thing, right? And so you have to be very careful about things like that. Another thing I wanted to talk about is choices. So we all still have choices. Spiritual accountability doesn't mean that you lack choices, and obedience doesn't mean that you lack choices. You can still make choices. You just have to make informed decisions. So when I do readings, I ask, what will be the result of XYZ? And this is whether I do them for me or for a client. I just did one the other day for a client. And this person wanted to know what would happen if they still went on a trip. And because there were some things going on around the trip, and they wanted to know what happened if they would go on the trip. And so I asked, what would be the result of this trip? And part of her result was that if she goes on this trip, it's not going to be what she thought. She's going to have to change her plan. It's not going to go, whatever her itinerary was, it's going to change. So she shouldn't go into it with the same feeling that she thought. She's going to have to go into it with open-mindedness and flexibility so that she could still have a good time. And so a couple days later, she called me and she was like, oh my God, this is what happened. She sent me some pictures and everything. And I said, oh, wow, okay. And she was like, why that didn't come up in the reading? And I said, that's not what the reading was about. The reading was what would be the result if you still went on the trip. So you could still go on this trip and have a good time, but that choice is up to you. You can stay home. You can cancel the trip. It's fine. But the question was, what would be the result if you went on the trip? And I told you what you would have to do. You would have to change your plans in order to still have a good time. And she was like, oh, so she misunderstood the question and what the answer would be, but the answer was still the same. So it's just more, sometimes it's about your understanding as well. But if you truly want something and you ask, what would be the result if I go after this thing? Sometimes it's going to be hard, and you can make the decision as to whether or not you still want to go after that thing, or if you even truly want it, or if you need to do something else. But you still have that choice, and the universe will work around whatever choice that is. But you just need to understand the choice and understand what you are trying to do, and be clear in what you're trying to do and what you're willing to sacrifice to get what you want, and then be accountable. So if you tell your spirits, if you give me this, I'll do X, Y, and Z, and then you don't do X, Y, and Z, then they're going to hold you accountable for that. And to that point, we like to also kind of like hold certain relationships above what we're supposed to be doing. So you could have the choice to stay with a person who does certain things, or to not be with that person, move on, and have a different path, so to speak. Or you could choose to hold on to that person against the will of what you're supposed to be doing. That's still a choice. But you have to stop holding relationship and family bonds above your destiny. And not everybody is meant to come with you. You're going to have to let some people go, and you're not accountable for those people or their decisions. Sometimes we do it and it's less spiritual, but we feel like if we leave someone behind, then they'll always be behind, or they won't have the life that they could have because you won't be in it. That's not your responsibility at all. If they wanted you in their life, they would do the things to keep you in their life. Period. Point blank. That's on them. That is not your accountability to have. You are responsible for your destiny and walking your own path. And if they were truly thinking of the bond that you have, they wouldn't have done the foolishness in the first place. If they do you dirty, they wouldn't have did that if they were truly in a place to honor the bond and the relationship that you have. This goes from relationships in, romantic relationships. It goes for friendships and family relationships. You don't have to make that bond be a factor in how you move in your destiny when it's clear that they don't honor the bond. So that's on your own accountability. And I don't want to make it seem like you have to think that you're better than certain things or certain people, because that's not the case. But you are above certain things. I said this in the shadow work conversation we had on the first day. You are not better than other people, but you are definitely above the foolishness that people will try to drag you into. And don't let them drag you back into the same type of situations you were trying to heal from. So if you're trying to heal from a situation, having people around you that are going to put you back in that same exact situation, that's not going to work, because it's going to keep happening. You have to take responsibility and remove yourself from certain types of environments. Continuing to put yourself, especially like with relationships, some of us have this weird thing where we keep getting in relationship with the same type of person, or there's differences about this person. So we're like, oh, this person is better. But then we realize there's other things that kind of drag this person down to the same level or lower than the person that we just got done dealing with, which is why it's important to do like shadow work and healing, because you need to understand why you were with this person, what triggered you with this person, why it didn't work, so that when you move forward, you don't get the exact same thing. And if you don't deal with and process those emotions, you're going to keep getting stuck in this same horrible, like, karma loop, basically. And so don't let people drag you back into that. And if you're trying to be a better person, you're working on your temper. Don't be around people who instigate that. You have a friend that's always ready to fight and you trying to calm down. That means you can't be out in the club with that friend who's always ready to fight, because you're going to end up fighting, or you're going to let them get their ass beat. One of the two. That's up to you. That's part of your choice, right? So just be aware of things like that. So obedience. So we established there's consequences to your actions. But now we're kind of talk about obedience. And some people seem to think that obedience is slavery. It is not. By the way, if y'all have any questions, you can put them in the chat so I can see. And I'll answer them. So obedience and accountability, neither one of those things are slavery. And it's not mental slavery. It's not, religion isn't even slavery, really. There are always going to be morals and protocols in life. And just because you don't know what those consequences are doesn't mean that you get to be absolved from them. So like I said, you just being a raggedy person is not going to prevent, but claiming Jesus isn't going to prevent the consequences. So you just really need to do some work and figure out why you think that obedience is slavery. Same thing with submission. Everybody in relationships, we usually talk about submission, and it's typically from the guys that a wife should submit to her husband, but they forget the part where the husband also needs to submit to the wife. So some people forget that part altogether. And some women will be like, I'm not submitting to no man, blah, blah, blah. So that's also wrong. There's nothing wrong with submission. There's nothing wrong with, and this is romantic relationships or any type of relationship, I submit to my children sometimes. That doesn't mean that they're getting their way. That's not actually what that means. That means that you see that they have a need or a desire, and you submit to supporting that need or desire. That's submission. Or in the case of a marriage, so the man is supposed to be the head, right? And the woman is the partner. You're not really above or below one or the other. And people like to think just because we say the man is the head, that means that the woman is below. That's not what that means. The man is the head, meaning is that he is going to take the consequence, regardless of what the decision is. He shoulders the consequence of those decisions. And so if you make a bad decision together, it's his job to figure out, how to fix it, for the most part. And that's only because the difference that men and women's brains work, typically, not all the time, but typically men are problem solvers. When you're venting to your man, whether he's your husband or not, he is going to be more solution oriented, and he's going to say, well, just stop talking to the bitch or get a new job. It's so not emotional at all. He's just going to find a way to fix the problem. They're fixers. Men typically are fixers. And it's like quick action. Like, it's not going to be 17 steps. They're going to find the quickest, what do they say? The closest distance between 2 points is a straight line. That's how men's brains work all the time for everything. And so when there's a conflict not necessarily in a marriage, but when there's a conflict in life, men are very focused on, okay, this happened, so I need to go do this, or I need to overcome this. How do I overcome this and keep moving? That's how men think. That's why men are the head, because they think more logically and precisely in some cases, because they're not using their emotions. Women are the nurturers because they're using their heart and their emotions in the relationships. So you need both of those things to figure out certain problems, because with your children, being the head and the thinker and the problem solver doesn't always work with children when you're not using emotions, because children are very emotional and they don't think very logically because they're children. So you have to apply to their sensibilities. You have to understand them and how they react in order to get certain things. So that, in a way, is submitting to your children, and so that they can be obedient, if that makes sense. Does that make sense, y'all? Am I making sense? Y'all quiet. Nobody's saying anything in the comments. So I'm going to just wait and see what y'all say in these comments before I say anything else. There's so many people in here, and none of y'all are talking. And I know you're on like a 15-second delay. So I just got to wait for comments to pop up. And I'm thirsty. And I didn't bring any water over here. Only thing over here is a bottle of hot sauce, and I don't want to drink it. Okay. Cash says I'm making sense with a heart. Thank you, Cash. Moana says I'm making sense. Thank you, Moana. We listening. Okay. Thank you, Sonder. Thank you so much. We're listening. We're not talking. That's what it is. Y'all so busy listening. Y'all ain't typing. I'm not saying nothing funny, and I'm not cussing y'all out. That's probably why y'all so quiet. Okay. Oh, Cash is cutting a pineapple. That sounds good. Let me go on ahead and go to the store. Anyway, so obedience and accountability are not at all slavery. There's nothing wrong with it. It's actually for your greatest good that you are spiritually accountable and obedient. Again, like I said, especially when you know better. So most of you know that Obatala is Big Daddy over here, right? So Obatala has been very specific with me. And my ancestors have translated this a lot, because they're loud as hell. I don't hear Obatala's voice very often. I only hear it in very, very specific circumstances. So it's not like I'm constantly hearing him all the time, but I can feel that big daddy energy, that it's not my father, because my father didn't have that energy at all. My dad was like so chill and laid back and cool, and that is not how my dad, that is not how Obatala really operates. Obatala is very chill, but he's like, it's kind of, it can be a heavy energy, especially when he's wants you to do something or he's giving you direction, because this is like, it's like a judge basically telling you what it is you need to do to stay out of trouble. So I can't drink, I can't do any drugs. I was able to do the plant medicine retreat, but I had to get permission. So when I say I have to get permission, I have to divine to see um, if I'm allowed to do this, because it is for spiritual reasons, right? And I can't drink outside really of ceremony. So when I get my hand of Ifa, I'll be able to drink. When I got my Aleke, I was able to drink. Sometimes when I officiate a ceremony, I will take one shot, but I'm not going to be throwing them back. I'm not just going to be sitting around talking, drinking wine. I can't do any of that. And I never had a problem with alcohol, but that's a taboo for, it can be a taboo for children of Obatala. Plus, I have a lot of alcoholics in my family, like people who need organ transplants because their body parts don't work because of all the alcohol, like some serious stuff. And so, and there's been a lot of trauma in my family around alcohol. And so they were like, you know what? You've never been drunk. You don't really care about alcohol like that. So we're just going to say no alcohol for you. But I do like alcohol. I do miss the sippy sips. But I know that I can't have it without getting like, very specific reasons to have it. Sometimes we have to, when we're doing offerings, we're supposed to take a little sip, or when offering it to herbs and you have to put it in and you have to spray it. And so it does end up in my mouth, but I'm not like ingesting or whatever. Or I'm like taking a sip because it's disrespectful to do offerings and not partake in the offering. And so, but it's not like me just enjoying the drink. So if I go against that, I don't even want to know what's going to happen, honestly. Like I don't even I don't even want to bother with that. Same thing with like smoking. I wasn't one that got high anyway. And so like it took a lot of effort for me to even feel anything. My boyfriend calls me an alien because I don't get drunk or high. Meanwhile, he'd be over here toasty and roasty. And I just be like, I'm just gonna be normal over here. But there are consequences. I wear all white because I was told to. And I have to divine every time I want to wear something different. And I only have one exception, really. As my birthday, I was able to wear something else, but I divined about it first before I did it. And then there's a ritual I do. And so I wear my ritual outfit. And actually, the outfit I wore on my birthday is my ritual outfit. But I was told to wear all white until a certain time, until I was told not to anymore. And I'm getting the feeling that I'm just going to be in all white for the rest of my life. I'll find out in July, right? But that's obedience. Like, I don't want to be wearing all white. I have so many clothes that I miss so bad. And even like shoes. I was showing them this morning. I have some very gold, sparkly shoes that I would love to wear. I have some really, really cute boots. I have some wheat ones and I have some black ones. I can't wear them. I have some comfy shoes. Like even the sandals that I wear now are white. I sleep on all white. My sheets are white. My towel is white. Every time you see me in one of these videos, ever since last May, I'm wearing white. My couch isn't white, but I had that from before. My mom got me a nice little blanket for Christmas. It's white. Everything that I physically put my coat everything that my purses, I just got a new purse because it wasn't big enough for Betty Boom. So I had a blue purse. I was carrying my blue purse because I couldn't put Betty Boom in any of my other purses. And I just got a bigger white purse. So Betty Boom's in there now. If you don't know who Betty Boom is, it's fine. So yeah, it's obedience. And no, it's not what I want to be doing, but I'm not willing to risk the consequences of not doing it. Period. It's not worth it. Wearing a color is not worth whatever the consequence may be, because I know it's going to be harsh, because I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I know what I was told to do. I don't want to, get into a car accident and lose a leg because I wanted to wear a yellow shirt one day, or because I wanted to have a Mai Tai or a Cosmo or something. I just don't want to know. Chris, any resources for divining as a beginner? Chris, if you are in the Melanated Witchcraft group, the file section has a bunch of books. If you're in the Risha Huda group, either one of those groups, if you're in there, you go to the file section, there are a bunch of free books in there. Also, Huganzo today is day 3 of his learning to read playing cards class. The whole entire module and a few other things are going to be posted on the site for, I think he said $45 today. And so I don't know if it's up there yet, but if you are on the African School of Magic, we post the link all the time. But if you go to African School of Magic, I believe the classes are up there. The package is up there. It'll be like somewhere around $45. You'll get all 3 of his playing card classes that he just did. And plus there's some other info on playing cards in there. And it's a really good class. Like I already low-key know how to read playing cards, but the way that he explains certain things is just different. It's always good to get different perspectives, even if you know how to do it. Mambo Soleil. Yes, and I do have a tarot class. If you go to my actual, like the rest of my Enchanted Vibes YouTube, I do have a tarot class on there. I think there's 2 of them. And I'm going to start doing more too. Yes, Moana, this is a very good class that we're doing. But I forgot what I was going to say now. Who's that? Dividing against beginner. Oh, Hunsi, Mambo say, sorry, she's officially Mambo now. She's been a Mambo. She just wasn't going by the title. Mambo say has tarot classes all the time and free tarot drills. So if you're in the group, anytime we at everyone, just go ahead and at least see what it is. Because a lot of times when we at everyone, it's a free class. Every now and then it's like a ritual, like Mambo Soleil is doing the Rich Spirit ritual. And I think today is the last day to sign up for that, which I've done that ritual twice. So if you have the things you need, just go on ahead and do it because it's amazing. It's very helpful. I'm not doing it this time because I'm doing the shadow work mentorship. I'm heading that and doing that plus my actual assignments and this type of stuff. It would just be a lot. And so I don't want to overload myself. Which is also part of accountability too. Know when you need to calm the fuck down. Don't try to do too much. Don't be trying to keep up with the Joneses, because there's people in this life that are full-time. And so if I tried to do everything that Ia is doing, it just wouldn't make sense when I have to be at somebody's job. That's not even my own business. Ia owns businesses. I have a freaking job. So I'm accountable for people who ain't even got nothing to do with me. So it's a little bit different, but that's part of accountability too. Understand your strengths and weaknesses. And when you see that you have a weakness or something you need to work on, you actually have to do it. Don't just let it sit there. That's part of shadow work too. And I'm so glad. I thank all the girls that are in shadow work module right now that are in here watching. I love y'all so much. We've had so many good conversations the past few days about things, and not all of them were in the chat. I've talked to you, some of you individually on the phone for an hour or more in some cases about things that were going on with you. because not everything is for everybody to know, even in shadow work. um, and so it's really been helpful for me, um, learning what my strengths and weaknesses are and why I'm like, why am I like this? Why do I respond that way to certain things? Um, and so that I can stop doing that and be better and do better and also help other people, through their situations. Because sometimes you just need another perspective. It's not about, being better than somebody. Because I've done told them some of the things, that didn't happen. It's not that I'm better and that's why I'm leading the shadow work. It's that I've experienced some things and I navigated through some of those things already. I've navigated through most of the things already. I have like a small amount of things that I still really need to figure out, some big stuff. But shadow work is one of those things that never ends. It never stops. You're going to have to keep going. Your whole life, you'll be dealing with it because you'll be dealing with other people's actions. People will cause you trauma later in life, and you'll have to work through that. And you'll have to do shadow work to get there. So shadow work is not something that you just do once and then you're healed and you're magical and you're this perfect person. And sometimes you need therapy on top of that, for certain situations. If shadow work didn't really get to the root of it, sometimes you need therapy to help you. And sometimes that just depends on who's leading the shadow work. If it's somebody who, like me, I haven't led a bunch of shadow work, right? So I don't have all the freaking answers, but I'll give you as much as I can. And then, once Ia is back in the country, she'll kind of like pop in and assist and all that. Um, and you have the benefit of the coven and everybody in the Discord who can help, right? And we help each other through it. Sorry, I have this knife in my hand and I'm just playing with it. This is my ceremonial knife. But yeah, it's a process, and but you have to really hold yourself accountable. Like I'm not hovering over the girls in shadow work. They have the exercise that they're supposed to do. I gave them the syllabus. They're responsible for actually doing it. So if they're not doing their meditations, if they're not really writing in their journal, if they're not really doing the hard work, they'll have some benefits, but they won't get what they should have or what they could have out of it if they had just did what they were told to do. And it's the same thing with our regimen. Everybody who's in the coven, we have a weekly regimen. You can do it or you could not. And if you don't, you're going to not have the same benefits as those who do. Like we have two whole rituals that we have to do every week. Um, and so if you don't do them, I mean, sure, you're going to be fine, but you will still have to deal with more stuff than what you should. But if you just hold yourself accountable to do the things you said you were going to do, you're in this mentorship by choice. Nobody forced you, right? So do what you said you were going to do all the lessons, do all the meditations, do the candle. You know, at one point, we're going to have to make a soup, which I'm excited about. I can't wait to eat. Y'all know how I feel about eating. But you just have to do it and hold yourself accountable to it. Nobody can make you do that. When it comes to spirituality, nobody can force you into it. If you're being forced into it, then it's not for you. And that's why for me, Christianity didn't work because it felt forced. Something was off. It just didn't jive with me. Some of the basic principles did. And I still believe in God, obviously. But some of the little things just added up and kept adding up, and it didn't make sense to me. And so I did a lot of research, and I did a DNA test to figure out where my ancestors were even from, and that set me on the course to be on the path that I am now. But I had to take accountability and realize that I was in the wrong place. I wasn't doing I wasn't where I wanted to be spiritually. And so I had to reassess that situation. Paige asks, will instructions be given during your Aleke ceremony? I don't know why I said that funny. During your Aleke ceremony. Yes. In a way. You'll get a divination, and your divination will give you a peek as to where you are in that moment and what you need to do to be a better human. And so it really just, everybody's divination is different. Like in my Aleke divination, I was told that I should not be in a relationship with a female. Ia said, you can scratch the itch, but you can't have a relationship. So I can't have a girlfriend, not a real one anyway. I mean, I have a man now, so it doesn't matter. But if I was single, I can't be in no whole relationship with a female. I can have fun, but like I'm not supposed to make a life partner with a female. Um, I was also told like if ever I'm in poverty, that means I'm out of alignment because poverty is not in my destiny at all. I am never supposed to feel poverty. Some people have ebbs and flows of things where they have, moments of poverty and then they bounce back and maybe a little poverty and bounce back. I do not have that in my destiny. I am never supposed to be without what I need to survive. I'm always supposed to be good. That doesn't mean I'm going to be like wealthy and like ridiculous and be a billionaire and have too much money and all the other stuff. But I'm not supposed to ever feel poverty. I should never be hungry. I should never not be able to pay bills and things like that. And if I can't, that means I'm out of alignment. So you'll get like little things like that, depending upon what your divination says. I can't tell you, I don't want to give examples of other people's divination because it's not my story to tell, but those are some of the examples in mine. Does anybody else have any questions? Shadow work, round 2 of shadow work is going to start on March 22nd and it will end April 11th. If you click the link that is in the description of this video, it'll take you to a whole host of things. And one of those things is the shadow work mentorship. You will have to join the Discord in order to be in it. But then we have like our own little forum that we're using right now. So nobody outside of shadow work can get to it. Even some of the admins can't get to it because they're not in the program and they're not helping me. So really it's just us in there. And so that we post our assignments, we have conversations. I have a Zoom, which I'll start the Zoom a little bit after this. As soon as we end here, I'll start the Zoom, y'all, if y'all need to pop in and ask anything. And then we have a daily assignment and we're really chill. Like it's not like intense where you're like constantly having to, it's not like a therapy session. It's not like an AA session where you're constantly sitting in a room with people and confessing your sins and things like that. That's not at all what we're doing. When we come to the group together, if anybody has a question, they can do that. We did our candle together the other day. A couple girls were in there doing their candle. One had needed assistance because she had never done candle work before. And so I did the whole setting a sacred space for her and all that stuff and helped her with her divination to make sure that everything was good before she lit her candle. And I actually need to divine for her today to make sure that her candle is doing good. But it was just a big little family situation in there. There is no judgment in there. I done told y'all some of my crazy stuff. Some of the things I had to heal from, some of the things I'm still healing from. Just so that y'all would understand that whatever y'all going through is fine. I understand. It's a lot. Life can be a lot. So that's shadow work that we're working on right now. Does anybody have any questions about obedience, accountability, any other thing while I'm here? Y'all can ask me whatever. Now it's an ask me anything. But yeah, shadow work is fun. Also, if you click the link, if you need to book a reading, those are available. And I have a couple different versions of a reading. I also have a working construction. So if you, but that usually needs to come after stuff. So if you need a working to help you with the situation, I can help you. I can basically construct the whole working for you. You have to do it. But I can construct it for you from beginning to end and tell you exactly what you need to do and all your divinations and all that stuff. So if while you're doing it, you need to divine to make sure your herbs are good and you don't know how to do that, I can do that for you. That's part of the service. Y'all don't have no questions for real? Did y'all enjoy the class? Did y'all enjoy? If you enjoyed it, put white hearts in the comments. I love to see white hearts. They make me the happy. A whole bunch of white hearts. Or you can send a love donation to Enchanted Vibes LLC. I also love a good love donation. Past couple weeks, I've shared some of my other love donations that were not money. So like I lit my candle today. Omi Jimmy Lua sent me a whole care package. And one of the things she sent me, sorry, y'all, I know the sun is kind of bright and blinding, but she sent me a candle, among other things. And so I actually had my candle lit today while I was working. I have this amazing book. Is it still on my table? No, I moved it. It's all the way across the room. I have this amazing book from Nicole about symbols and sigils and things. And that book is freaking amazing. I just got this book because we're doing playing cards. If you want to learn how to read playing cards, get this book. So who was that that asked about beginners? Was that you, Cash? Somebody, it was somebody. I thought it was Cash, maybe. Anyway. Oh, I love all the white hearts. Thank you. This is a good book to start with. And then there is also this book, Love Cards. And if you were in Hugon's class, these are the books that he was talking about. They're big, as you can tell, because I got a big ass head and they're bigger than my head. But yeah, it just at the beginning it has your birthday, and it tells you what card is your birth card, and then it kind of tells you about yourself based on that, and then you can use that to figure out other things in your life, other people in your life. And that's really how you can learn to start divining about with playing cards, is just by learning about yourself with playing cards, because then once you start to do readings, things kind of like click and make sense. Okay, Cashew. Oh, Cashew were in there last night. Good. Thank you for all of these white hearts. I love them. Oh, okay. There's my baby Nicole. Yes, I'm going through this whole book, and I have another book coming in the next couple of days. I think it's coming today, actually. It might already be here. I will have to check my email to see what's popping up in there. And thank you for the love donations. I see them coming through now. Thank you so much. And thank you for the subscribe. Whoever just subscribed, thank you. I don't want to mess it up. Diva Mommy, thank you for subscribing. I'm going to start releasing videos that aren't live again. To give you guys some more things to look at. But if you haven't checked out all the free videos on this channel, please do. There's a video about enchanting herbs, how to do that. There's a divine feminine water video on here. I just did enchanting your children 1 and 2. Plus I gave a whole working for enchanting your children using your cycle, and how to do it if you don't have a cycle. Whether you ever had one or if you don't menstruate anymore. Whole bunch of stuff. Just so much free stuff on this channel, y'all. Just like and subscribe. Okay, yes. Nicole is currently watching my video about tarot. I'm going to start doing more. I'm going to do like an in-depth thing of each card. So I am going to start doing that. And I keep saying that, and then I don't ever start it. So I'm going to take accountability and say that I've been kind of a slacker, and I'm going to do better for y'all. I promise. I just divined on my family sigil. Pretty cool, I must say. Okay. Yes. Oh, you're so welcome, Cash. I'm so glad you guys tuned in. I'm glad you appreciated the conversation. Does anybody have anything else that you would like me to say or add before we end today? Y'all, it's only been an hour. I think this is the shortest one I did in a while. And y'all know I'm getting hungry because I ain't ate in a minute. Y'all better ask about that random doodle you made. Yes, your content has been invaluable to my journey. Oh, thank you, Paige. I love you so much. Paige, you are just like so sweet and amazing. Like, I haven't met you in person yet because I wasn't at the last plant ceremony, but I feel like your presence is very calming. That's what I get from you in all our little Zooms or whatever. Like, you just seem like such a sweet soul. Not that you can't be when people take you there, but like you seem like so sweet. I love you too, Nicole. I can't wait to see you guys for your Aleke in April. I'm so excited for you. If anybody is watching this and you want to get Aleke soon in April, it is $1,500. That pays for the entire ceremony and the things that you'll get out of the ceremony, the divinations. You'll get a sacred name. That pays for your lodging. That pays for all your food while you're there. It does not pay for your travel, but it pays for the things you're going to need while you're there. And it is an amazing experience. So it's really great. I'll be very excited to help you guys on the next leg of your journey. And Nicole, she said, I'm going to tackle you. That's fine because I'm going to tackle Omojole. So I'm going to tackle Omojole and you can tackle me, and then we'll just be like in a huddle. It's fine. Paige says, I'm not calm at all. I'm going to fangirl so much in April. It's fine. Not like, I could see where you're happy and peppy, yes, but like you have a calming energy about you for some reason. Like you seem like the type that can chill somebody out. Maybe that's what it is. It's probably because you be cussing people out. Yes, Deanna, I can't wait to see you guys. I'll be so excited to actually meet everybody who was at the plant ceremony since you're all getting your Aleke. I'll be very happy. As I said, click the link that's in the comments. That's in the description so that you can be up to date on all the things. You can join the Discord tackle party. You can join the tackle party that's going to happen. In Discord, we kind of give out some more free information that we don't give out publicly. So, and some free videos and stuff that aren't really up everywhere else. And you get more access to Ia as well. So Ia is always dropping gems in the Discord. And so it's definitely a little safe haven. It's not as loud as the Facebook groups. So definitely join us in the Discord if you can. If you're going to join if you're going to join Shadow Work Mentorship, it is $350. Again, the link is in the comments. And it's 21 days. It is a transformative experience because this is only day 4, and shit is shaking already for some of us. I know it's shaking for me. I haven't called any of y'all, but I know some of y'all have called me. Shit is the shaking already in day 4, and we still have 17 more days of this, and we're gonna be shaking tables. But it's fun. I'm really enjoying this private time with you guys. So readings, all that stuff in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel so that when I set up new things, you are aware. Next week, there will be no live from me because my friend's birthday is on the 7th. And so I left the weekend open in case she wants to do anything because I love her. I love her so much. And so I'm going to take a little week break because this is like the 6th or 7th week in a row that I've done a live. So I'm going to take a little week break, get some self-care in there, do some studying, catch up with assignments. I really need to get my playing card life together. So I'm going to be doing a lot of studying and then preparing for the next class. The next class is 2 weeks from today. It is angel numbers and numerology and angel numbers, basically, is what we're going to be talking about. So the link is already up. If you go to my channel and you go to the lives tab, the link is already there. So you can just click that to hit notify me so that you are ready when I actually go live. And so I'm super excited about the angel number class because it's a super popular topic. Everybody was talking about, I'm always seeing 444. What does that mean? I'm going to tell you what all the angel numbers mean. I'm going to tell you what all the numbers mean, and I'm going to tell you what all the angel numbers mean. So it's going to be the next class is going to be one that you're going to have to take notes. So make sure that you have a notebook ready. And this gives you guys time to catch up on all the previous classes. Because like I said, I think this is like the 5th or 6th, maybe 7th week in a row that I've gone live. So catch up on all the previous stuff. If there's anything you want me to talk about that you don't see or you want me to expand on, my name is Omowarare Ogbonyomi on literally everything. And the business is Enchanted Vibes on literally everything. You'll be able to tell because my logo is there, or it'll link it back to me or this page somehow. So definitely reach out. And you can do in the comments. I read all my comments after videos post. So if you want to go back to the comments or you see something in a video and you want me to talk about that more, go ahead and type that in the comments for that video. So that way I know that I need to circle back to something, because I want to make sure I'm talking about things that are helpful for everyone, that are not sacred and occult information, because we don't give that out on the internet. But normal things we can talk about. So, and thank you for the love donations. They're still coming through. My thing's been vibrating. Thank you guys so much. So if there is nothing else, I love you guys. Thank you for joining me. And remember to keep your head so high you don't even see the haters. Peace.